Well, in the meantime, let's get you this update coming in amid the tensions that still continue, geopolitical and the global situation that still remains volatile. India has decided to cut the special additional excise duties on petrol and diesel to 3 rupees. And now it is being set per litre and 0 respectively when we talk about according to the government notification that has now come across, because these are the concerns over the war fallout that is now being looked upon. And this very step is expected to provide some relief. Now, as far as when it comes to the government directive, reducing the extra excise duty on petrol to up to 3 rupees per litre, down from the previous 13 rupees per litre, and simultaneously the excise duty on diesel was reduced to 0 from the previous 10 rupees per litre. Mr. Narendra Taneja is connected with us. Sir, good morning to you. How are you looking at this move that has been done by India to cut the special additional excise duty on petrol and diesel?
Well, it's an unprecedented move, and very clearly the government is trying to protect the ordinary consumer of petrol, diesel, and other fuels, which is a very good move. We all know that actually the government can't afford it, but still they are doing it in order to, insulate the ordinary consumer from what's going on in the Persian Gulf War. However, I think at the same time it conveys one message that the government is quite hopeful that the war probably would end soon, and therefore, things will fall back to the normal. As you know, given the kind of demand and supply fundamentals, there is no shortage of oil, but the prices have gone up because the movement from via Strait of Hormuz has become very, very difficult. So that's my view, and at the same time, I think the government is sincerely trying to convey that, look, the government is trying its level best. It's not in the government control, not in India's control, but it's trying level best. At the same time, government is quite concerned about the financial health of these big companies, government of India's companies, which are responsible for bringing crude oil, refining, and then making it available to the people across the country. So it's very clear, on the one hand, protecting the companies and their financial health so that they can continue to do their job, and at the same time protect the ordinary consumer. Very tough, a huge challenge for the government, but it's very clear the government is trying its very, very level best. Unprecedented move.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Taneja, for your point of view. Well, if this is an unprecedented move, Pragya, good morning. We also have Shinjoy joining us here on the broadcast. And Pragya, during the first day of the Times Now summit, this question, when it comes to the experts and the ministers in the government, was often asked, how prepared India is. Do you believe that this is now an unprecedented move that will actually provide a lot of relief to the consumers, because this action has arrived amid worsening global energy crisis?
Absolutely, and in fact the excise duty on petrol, which has come down to 3 per litre from 13 per litre, and also 0 as far as diesel is concerned, it will also help in controlling and also stabilizing the price that consumers bear, but also to the oil marketing companies that have been bearing this a lot of losses, because they have to buy the crude oil and also to process it as per the international prices. But the government decided that this is the time that they also have to bear some of the national responsibility, and this is why they were bearing the losses, but that was not passed on to the consumers. Having said that, this particular excise duty, that has been curtailed to 3 per litre on petrol and 0 from 10 per litre on diesel. It will also help oil companies to bear few of the losses that they have been bearing. From more losses to less losses. This has also put lesser burden on these oil companies as well.
All right, Pragya, thank you for that update. Let's connect with Shinjoy on this. Shinjoy, as Pragya raised the issue that this would reduce pressure on OMCs to raise petrol and diesel prices amid crude oil rates, in the back of the US-Iran war, because as far as Brent crude oil is concerned, it seems to be hovering around $100 per barrel.
Brent crude was about 70 when the war started. It went up to 120, came down to 90 after President Trump said the war was ending very quickly. Then when people realized the war wasn't ending quickly, it went up from 90 to 110. Now, India imports about 80% plus of its oil and natural gas requirements. So naturally, India will be affected. which is why this cut has happened. Can you imagine a price of each barrel of crude going up from $70 to $110, $40 increase? They say, according to economists, when the price of a barrel of oil goes up by $10, then India's economy is hit, the GDP growth is hit by 0.2 to 3%. 0.2 to 3%. Now that's a significant number. And here, oil prices have gone up by $40.
Absolutely, because this seems to be a big relief, at least for the consumers, that the government has taken up this unprecedented move. But there is more relief that is now coming in India's way. Srinjoy continues to be with us. We talk about